we're going to be focused on movement today, okay? And in particular, forward and backwards, right? So vertical movement, this is why we are not using a wall for this, all right? Because we're going to be focused on patterns of movement for forward and backwards, okay? This is something that I think if you guys love watching film, if you're a big like YouTube person, you like watching either like the college matches or you watch the national teams play or you watch the professional teams play, the elite passers in the world do a really good job of getting their bodies to the ball. And the way they move is really precise, right? There's not a lot of extra stuff happening in the way they move. So we're going to be kind of focused on some patterns of movement that are going to help you get to the ball. And again, it's just one of those things that you want to practice on your own. It's really important that you know your own ability in movement. How fast can you move? How much ground can you cover? How many steps do you need to use? Now, when we talk about patterns of movement, your coaches will probably never say, hey, that's got to be like a 2-step crossover for that ball. It's never going to happen, right? But it's just for your own information to know how to get to the ball. Like, how do you personally get to the ball? Okay, and typically a lot of coaches will say, like, at minimum, when you're moving to the ball, you have to use at least 3 steps, right? So typically, yeah, your jab step does not get you to the ball, right? So you never want to think in terms of my jab step is going to get me to the ball, and I'm always trying to improve my position, right? It's not just, oh, 3 steps and I'm done, right? If I can continue to improve my position before the ball gets to me and before I need to get stopped, we want to do that. So today we're just going to be focused on some of the principles on shuffling forward and backwards. Okay, so you should have some space for yourself to shuffle. And for those of you that want feedback from me, you can turn your cameras on because I will demo and then I can give you guys some feedback. But if you don't care and you just want to listen, that's totally fine. And I'm going to try and get this down to, yeah, feet. All right, perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna be focused on my feet here. Let me bring this up a little bit so you can kind of see my knees too, right? So we're gonna start with backwards movement, okay? Because I think this is the more critical one than moving forward. And you wanna make sure that you are using shuffles, right? Everything that we do in serve receive for movement is going to be shuffles, right? So if you never got taught how to shuffle, or you were a basketball player, right? And you know how to shuffle them perfect, or if you're just a good shuffle person, then awesome, right? We want to make sure. So I'm going to start with my right, sorry, I'm like hitting my hip, can't even see my hip. I'm going to start with my right foot back. I want my weight on my front foot, right? So this is like if I have a server that is to my right. Okay, so say I'm passing out of zone 5 or zone 6 and the server across the court is on zone 5, right? And all I'm going to work on, let me get some of this crap out of the way here. Can this still see me? Perfect. Awesome. Okay. So I'm bent, right? I've got my weight is directly over my toes, right? Knees are directly over my toes. So I don't want my knees in. I don't want my knees out. Knees are directly over my toes like you guys would be squatting, right? And I'm going to push off of this front leg, right, into this shuffle. And I'm stepping because I'm trying to do it slow. But when you do it fast, right, it's going to be step, 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 right? And this weight stays forward on this front leg, okay? So we're going to start with a right step move, and then left foot, right foot, shuffle, right? So it's back, shuffle, and this weight stays forward, okay? So you're going to do this 20 times, right, with just a back, shuffle, weight stays forward, okay? And you really want to make sure that your knees are not going all over the place and that your posture isn't going all over the place. You want to maintain your posture while you are doing this, right? So if your upper body is doing a lot of bending, you need to engage your core. You need to engage your lower back a little bit more so that you can still do this. What's up, Dylan? Join us. I'm covering for Aaron. So we're back shuffling, okay? So you're going to do this. Let's do this 20 times, guys. Do this 20 times. And again, we are going, let me get this back down to my feet. We're going right, left, right, and this shuffle, okay? And if you want to work on your positioning with your hands as well, right? You can. Hands low, right? And I'm going right, left, right. And then I think Aaron worked on your hand to arm connection last time. You could work on that as well at the end, right? So I'm here and go right, left, right, hand to arm connection. Okay, so do 30 of those off of your right foot. Kayla, I want you to start with a little stagger instead of starting even here, okay? It's gonna be easier if you start with a little stagger and already get that weight on that front foot, okay? Good, doesn't need to be that split, but that's good, good. Molly, is there any chance you can give yourself some more space? Good, you need space because you need to extend your range as best that you can with that first step, right? Mine are short in here because I'm trying to stay within the width of my camera. So Dylan, you're gonna go from as if your serve is on your right and your right foot is back. 3-step shuffle backwards, keep your weight forward. Good, and we're doing 30 of these. Good, 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 good. Molly, take your time. Take your time, don't rush it, right? We wanna make sure, guys, that when you're doing this, it's strong moves. You wanna make strong, disciplined moves. So if you do this too quick and your body is making a lot of extra movements, slow it back down, make strong consecutive moves every single time. Good, yeah, nice, good. Good, Kayla, good, Nia. Good, Molly.
How many steps are we?
3 steps, Dylan. Here, I'll show you. I'll show you. Right? So I'm going to start as if my server's to my right. And let me get here a little more forward so I have space. Right? And I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Keep that weight on my front leg. And you can draw your platform as well if you want to work on the stuff that Aaron had you guys doing previously. Okay? Good. So once you've done 30 on that side, you can come back to the camera and we'll go to our left. What's up, Claudia? Join us. What's up, Kayla?
Do you want us to start our left side now or wait?
If you want to start your left side, you can. I was just going to demo for the left side.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure you guys all know what you are doing. If you don't need the demo, you don't need the demo. I can just focus on what you guys are doing and give feedback. Good. Molly, when you're doing this, make sure your hips are not changing angles, right? So you're starting with your hips open, and then when you take that back step, your hip is opening, and then you're shortening this step up to get your angle back. I want to maintain the angle the entire time through the move, right? See how my hips aren't moving? Right? If I was facing you, what yours looks like is this, and I'm getting this big hip movement. I want to make sure that that posture, that angle, it doesn't change, right? Because I'm technically facing the ball the entire time, and we want to prevent those big swing type motions. Kayla, that was like 19 steps. We just want 3. Good, Nia. Nia, try and make sure that your posture isn't making big changes. Wherever your natural position is, where you fall to defensively, defensively, and serve receive with your posture, you want to maintain that. So what I'm saying is you start way forward off your knees, and then with your first move, you kind of kick up and then you come back down. You just want to stay in a really balanced position, okay? Dylan, same thing as Molly. Make sure that your hips are not making these big open motions. We already want to kind of stay open as if we were facing the server, right? Yeah, there you go. Good. That's a lot better, Dylan. Really nice. Good. Good, Nia. That's nice. Good, Molly. Good. Kayla, you probably want to get away from your hands getting wide, right? And passing, we definitely don't want to be birds out here. So I want to prevent my hands from doing all of this stuff, right? I want to make sure that my hands stay low the entire time so that I can create those angles without having to bring my arms back together. So get rid of all of that. There you go. Good. Nice. Good. Good. Good job, Molly. Good, Nia. Good, Dylan. Good. All right. When you guys are done, just come rejoin the camera and we'll move on. We'll wait for Dylan. I'm going to refill my water. Getting cotton mouth. Be right back. Okay, cool. Everybody back? Sweet. All right, now we're going to move on to forward movement. How's that look? Perfect. Awesome. Maybe a little bit higher so you can see my knee bend. Sweet. Okay, so now we're going to work on forward movement, right? Making sure that my weight is evenly distributed again. I'm going to start with my right foot back and attacking forward and then shuffling, okay? And this is where probably a lot of you guys get in a lot of trouble, is that we end up taking this first step and your toe doesn't match the direction you are going, okay? Or it doesn't match the angle that you're trying to attack the ball in. So for like Dylan and Molly, when you guys were going backwards, right? We were talking about how that push off your hip was changing angles, and a lot of that has to deal with where my foot is going. So we want to be really particular about what my front foot is doing, right? That if I'm attacking to my right, that I'm pursuing to my right, right? And that my foot isn't taking these crazy angles that is closing off my hips or opening it up. Anytime your hips make that kind of movement, right? Let's say I'm trying to keep the ball on my left, but I open up too much, right? I have to take an adjustment step to get my hips back around to where they need to be, right? So you should be really particular about where your hips are facing, and just like, you're just gonna have to do some imagination work that the ball is gonna be like, okay, this ball is going to cross my left, maybe. Like for the 17s, we try and take everything off of our left, right? Okay, so you could just pretend server's on my right, and the ball's gonna cross over either into my midline or my left. So I'm gonna even out my path a little bit more to draw off of that left hip, right? But I wanna make sure that my hips, show you guys here, right? I wanna make sure that my hips, when I do this, if I'm imagining this ball is coming across me, that my hips don't open up all the way across and then come back around. I wanna make sure that they stay flat into the angle the entire time so that I maintain my weight being behind the ball, right? That I maintain my posture, that I don't have to make these big turning motions. Okay, so we're gonna go forward 30 times, starting with your right foot back, and forward 30 times with your left foot starting back. Okay, and you're pushing off of your back foot. So you should have left, and right, left, right, 30 times each. Good. Nia, try and eliminate that. Nia, eliminate the bounce. Kind of the same thing there, right? So you kind of like bounce in your shuffle, and you want to keep it as lean as possible. Good, good, good. Kayla, try to imagine the ball either being on your right or on your left so that you have an angle to attack into instead of just running straight, okay? Good, Dylan. Good, Good. Good. Okay, so something to point out here for you guys. Be a little more conscious, even though we're focused on footwork, be a little more conscious about what your hands are doing, right? Like Mafud, we were talking about earlier, hands getting super wide. So let's add a piece to this movement, okay, especially forward. So when we're tracking forward, the ball is falling in front of us most of the time, and it could be really tough, right? So let's think a little bit more about my arms staying a little bit lower and developing out into the angle that we're imagining the ball going to, right? So for me, let me see here if I can just do this. I'm gonna imagine the ball's coming to my left, right? And in this movement, right, I wanna make sure that as I'm moving out to my left, my arms start to shape out into the angle as well, right? That way my arms aren't getting wide, my elbows aren't getting wide, I'm not getting short and caught up inside of my body, right? Because part of our movement is that we can be efficient with our arms as well. So I really want to make sure that in this movement, right, that I start shaping as well, right? And it's going to help you realize if you're really long, like say Molly and Dylan both have long arms, right? When do you need to start the motion to get your hands and arms together, right? It's a lot of times we dialogue it like as soon as you know where the ball gets or is going, you can put your platform together. But how quick can you be about getting it into the angle, right? So if I'm imagining out to my left here, right? I'm in this posture and I'm developing out and then finishing my move, making sure my weight stays forward, okay? So give yourselves a little bit of detail there. If you're going left or right, or the ball's going to your left or your right, just develop that platform a little bit more so that we can be a little more disciplined here. Good. Mafud, take the pop, take that pop out. Develop flat. Develop flat. Good, Nia, that's really nice. Good. Molly, I know you have a really small space, Molly, but try and smooth it out a little bit. Don't be so hitchy with your movements. Good. Have some rhythm to it, have some cadence to it. Dylan, bigger first step. Bigger first step, Dylan. Good. So something to point out here, guys, if our first step is small, our last two have to be really big. And that creates a problem with maintaining our weight being stopped when we're making contact with the ball, right? A lot of coaches will say the only thing we want moving while we're passing is our arms, right? I'm sure you guys have heard that probably a million times. That's going to be really hard to replicate if my last two steps are really big to the ball, right? We want that to be a shuffle. So my first step has to be a strong step that covers distance so that my shuffle can get me into position to get stopped. So if you feel like your first steps are kind of small, make them a little bit bigger into a shuffle with rhythm, right? We want it to be rhythm, make it feel athletic to you. So that way your body can be stopped and our weight isn't shifting on contact because like in the wrong direction. We do weight shift when we pass, but I don't want it going away from the ball because that's just where my momentum carried me, right? A weight shift should be in the direction of where I want the pass to go, not just where my weight is carrying me. Good. Keep going. Good, Molly. That's good. Good, Dylan. Good. Good, Kayla. That's a lot better. Good. That's really nice, Nia. That's good. Good. Nice job, guys. Dylan, try and add some rhythm to that. That seems really broken and like stuttery. Yeah, that's good. Dylan, you seem very uncomfortable moving with your right foot first.
Yeah, okay. I'm getting each side like This one just feels funny. It's confusing my brain.
Is that because of the way we track? Or is it because you never...
I don't usually pass like that. Like, I'll usually always try to get it on my left. I don't usually do that, so my feet are kind of confused.
Yeah, no, that should be difficult because there aren't a lot of situations where that would present itself. You're doing right foot forward here, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so here's a situation that it would get you in: a server from one serving short across your body.
Yeah.
Okay, so like if you were at middle back and they were serving from zone one, cutting across your body, this is what you would have to imagine. So the move would be more to your right than to your left, right? Think about midlining the ball. You want to think about midlining it.
So I would go like here, then here, like that.
Yeah, I know it's kind of hard without volleyball.
Okay, wait, like that. There.
Without volleyball courts. Let me move this forward. My table's in the way. So, right, Dylan? This would be, I'm facing zone one, and I need to cut off the ball. That is, let me get this like little, can you see? Cool. Okay, you can see that little power block right there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, so for me, it would be making sure that I can get to that ball. I'm facing zone one and be right, left, right. You know, to get to it. You're trying to cut that ball off into your midline, which our serve receive, when it doesn't have a ton of scenarios where that happens in our system. But again, this was just all about patterns of movement.
Gotcha.
So it may not 100% apply to what we do. Okay, you guys can go ahead and stop. You can come back to the cameras. That was good. We're just about done here. So you can also break this down, guys, into 5-step moves, right? Jab, shuffle, shuffle in both directions. Okay, both forwards and backwards, both to your right and to your left, right? You want to think about your seams, right? However your team does their seams. You know, if you're a Coach Morgan or Kurt player, you may be doing passing percentages. If you're a Coach Aaron player, maybe you're doing lanes, or maybe you're doing seams left, or maybe you're doing seams right. Maybe we're stacking in a weird way, right? There's a million different systems in for passing, but it's about you knowing the patterns of how you get yourself to the ball and how you put yourself into more advantageous positions to pass the ball, right? So you could extend that into a 5-step move. You could shorten it to a 2-step move if you're just making little baby adjustments, right? Maybe you already made your 3-step move, but now you're just trying to get better positioning on the ball, right? There's a lot of things you guys can do to break this down even further to create situations for yourself where you're just trying to figure out how well can I move, right? Dylan learned something in that she doesn't work well off of her right foot forward, which is awesome. That's something she could work on, right? And that situation presents itself a lot in volleyball, right? How many girls do we know that serve out of zone one and then serve the front row outside in zone 5? A lot, right? And if they're right-handed, they're going to miss across the court. So even if I'm trying to keep the ball off my left, I may be leading with my right foot, right? So it's just about patterns of movement and getting yourself to a place where you're comfortable off of both feet, both forwards and backwards, and maintaining that weight and that posture. Okay. Again, if you guys have any questions, just let me know. Thanks for showing up. It was nice seeing everybody. Have a good day. See ya.
Thank you, Austin.
You are welcome.
Bye.
Later.